I'm recording. Thank you, guys. So now, as I said, the real agenda, if you will, indulge me, the real agenda of tonight is things that really matter. And one of those is the things I've written on the flyer, right? Redemptive work. I wrote redemptive work, creative thinking, excellence, and quality. But you see, even that topic somehow seems not enough to capture what I'm trying to communicate to you. Um, the truth is this: we live in a world where, as said again, as said, we are constantly in a cycle of do this, do that. Everybody's trying, especially if you're in the third world like Nigeria, you are trying to scale the third world fence. Everybody gets a passport now and shares testimony in church. Like, that's how bad our country is. You get a passport and share testimony. That's how terrible it is right now. And it's disheartening that, oh God of heaven, I'm trying to, again, no, please, guys, just see me as a very sincere person, so that you will realize that when I say something, I'm not saying that thing is bad, okay? I'm trying to show a thought process, okay? So, for example, there's nothing wrong traveling out. There's nothing wrong with traveling the world. I want to travel the world. I know that I'm called to, because I'm a citizen of the earth. I'm not a citizen of Nigeria, right? Where you are born doesn't necessarily determine where you're going, right? All of that. So, I'm saying again that, yeah, it's okay to travel out. In fact, it's not just okay. You should travel. You are a citizen of the globe. God put you on the earth, and you're not supposed to be bound by territories. So that's not the point that I'm trying to make. Travel, please. The point I'm trying to make is that we get to a point where we now have so terrible societies, so terrible work systems, so terrible living conditions that it's a party when somebody travels out. We have so poor educational systems that everybody's goal is to school at Harvard, is to go to Yale, Oxford. I'm not denying culpability. I'm culpable, right, in this offense, right? So I'm not saying, oh, I know better. No. I'm saying that we are all in the right. But that one idea you must get away from here tonight is the idea of redemption. And this is what that means. You should not just exist in a space. You should build and add. Listen very carefully. You should build and add to that space beauty. The word beauty here is complicated, and I'm going to break it down as I speak. But understand it in this way, that every space that you exist in can be better. You know why? Because creation is dying every day. This is a Christian idea, and it's not a Christian webinar. I'm saying, of course, I'm Christian, but like, I'm not trying to preach here, but I'm trying to show something that is a fact of life. And that is that every day, the world decays. See, none of the things that we do here, let's just imagine that they lied to us, right? That pastors are lying, that Jesus is not coming, the world is never going to end. People will just keep giving birth into time and eternity. It still behoves on you to not listen. Somebody says, it's a very complicated thing, but I'm about to explain. But let me just say it. Somebody says, oh, how can let me skip that example because it's going to lead into another conversation entirely. But the idea behind the example that I was going to give is that for a person to think that they can exist on the earth, oh, I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not adding to the earth. I'm not removed from the earth. It's a lie. You are removing from the earth. The space you occupy, the thoughts that you have, the actions that you take, indirectly or directly leads to another person's results. So, for example, you are driving and you decide to drive slow. You just want to, go for a drive, that automatically makes somebody else who needs to get to office be delayed at the back of your car for 2 seconds before they finally overtake you. So you are affecting something. And on the contrary, you feel like, oh, I'm speeding, I need to get somewhere fast. You automatically put many drivers at jeopardy, including the learner who is driving for the first time and is afraid, and they need all the self-confidence they can get. But now you're driving a strained above balance and they landed in the gutter. So one way or the other, you're affecting somebody. All right? Yes. You're affecting something one way or the other. Every action on the earth. For example, right now I'm talking, my voice might be loud, and somebody somewhere is disturbed. So the point I'm trying to draw out from that is this. You owe the earth rent. And that rent is, is putting the unique thing in you to restore value to the earth. We need the earth in the color of you. So let me just tell you now, I'm not going to be the super nice dad or whatever. If you are planning to commit suicide, I know that there is no such person. But if you are that person who thinks that you could commit suicide, and you are very mistaken to the extent of your worth, to how much you matter, to how much any little thing matters in the first place. So you matter a lot. And the universe, do you know that the colors that we have are not the 7 colors of the rainbow? We have 1,000,001 colors of things. That you can see shades and hues of the same color. Same color. Spectrums. Look at how, in very fact, no 2 persons' fingerprint out of 8 billion plus of us on the planet, no 2 persons' fingerprints are same. And you think that you add nothing to the earth. So here's what I'm about to say. That the earth is constantly decaying, and your own unique addition is redemption. I hope somebody heard that. The earth is beaten out, and it's why people that steal and take and remove and are corrupt, they are the most wicked of humans that exist. They are the worst type of witchcraft, because they feel like, oh, it's just 2 billion naira. The entire budget is 200 billion. Nobody's going to know. That 2 billion will go to somebody that doesn't matter, and that's the wickedness. That's the wickedness. I'm getting passionate. The wickedness is that one person thinks that for their own glorification, their own, I don't want to use the word beautification, because their own comfortability, because of the access that they have, because of the environment that life has placed them, they have the temerity and the audacity and the right to take what belongs to 100 other people somewhere in a village in Nasarawa. And then there is now that child who has big dreams, who could change the world, who could make the next big innovation that brings lots of attention and lots of resources and lots of wealth to Africa. But the child is in that place in Nasarawa and doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a computer, doesn't have internet connection, doesn't have good roads, doesn't have anything. Oh, she might still succeed. She might be able to achieve it at 30. But what if she had achieved it faster at 16? And that is exactly what redemptive work looks like. So here is the paragraph of my conversation that will explain redemptive work to you. That whatever you do, you know that it has so much ripple effect. So you do your best to ensure that that thing adds beauty, adds value, adds comfort, adds possibility to the earth, and not reduces it. Let's use the simplest of examples. You were asked to create a document in the office, right? And you intentionally see. So this is not like high things. It's not so difficult. I mean, of course, it goes to the highest level of things. But let's take it from the simplest of things. You asked to create a document, or your mom asked you to help her do something on her phone. You could have taken the time to do it properly, so that the next time, for example, you know how your mom thinks, you know how she searches for contacts on her phone. and she asked you to help her save someone's contact. And you could have saved that person's contact in a way that you know that whatever the circumstance is, even if you're not there, if she types what she remembers in her head, that person's contact will pop up. But instead, you were watching movie, so you didn't pay attention. You didn't give value to what you were about to do. Then you just save the contact randomly, and now 4 months later, she needed to reach that contact. Your phone is dead, so she can't reach you to ask you how you saved the person's contact. She can't find the contact on her phone, and that's the person that she needed to get an injection from. Or that is the person that would have maybe helped her collect a delivery or something, just something that would have helped her go to market and so that she can prepare food for guests that are coming. But now she can't reach that person, and because she can't reach that person, she has to go herself, which means she's extra stressed. Now she comes back home, she cooks, and now she doesn't even have mood enough to receive the visitors. But maybe she still does her best. She receives the visitors, but she could not keep her emotions and she could not give all attention. And there is maybe the daughter of one of the people that came to visit your family. You are not at home. That would have needed your mom's loving counsel. I'm just trying to paint the scenario, right? They would have needed your mom's loving counsel if she was in her best of mood. But your mom was not in her best of mood that day. And so this girl, who could not have talked to her own mom, but might have been able to talk to your own mom, doesn't get anybody to talk to, and walks away, having another 10 years of her life without answers to her questions. And now somebody will say, is it that deep? Guys, it's that deep. That's the ripple effect of one action. That because she didn't save the contact right, she didn't find it. And because she didn't find it, she had to go the extra mile of going to the market herself, cook herself, receive the visitors, and she was no longer in great spirits to have a conversation with somebody who would have found her the most, comfortable person to talk to. And that person keeps carrying a question of their heart. Maybe it's even their parents that are wicked to them. And they can't tell anybody. Maybe it would have been your mom that would have told. If your mom had been in a great spirit and cheerful and asking questions from everybody the way she used to do. But now she doesn't. Or she isn't asking. The point I'm trying to make is this. That the opposite of redemptive work is anything you do without putting intention behind it. And automatically, that thing creates more problem in the earth than it solves. So work here is not necessarily office. Do you guys get the point? Work here is your ability to do things in a way that if anybody in any century, whether they are of your faith or of your tribe or not, if anybody encounters that work, they are redeemed. That's the idea of redemptive work. So redeemed in this instance is that their soul is already weary, but because they came across your painting or your music or whatever you did, you are a nurse, and because they came across you in the hospital, you healed them without the injection yet. Is someone with me? If you can hear me, can you say hi? Or mute your mic and say hi. Or you can type in the chat box if you can hear me.
Hi.
Great stuff.
Hi.
All right, all right, all right, all right. People that are saying network is breaking, is it my network or yours?
Network is okay.
Okay, so it might just be those people specific networks. All right. Um, I would ask you to keep trying, right, and stay in the call, right. Now, I always this thing can be explained, systematically and from the perspective of oh, where's Lois? Okay, I can see Lois. Lois is the person I've been using to as my pointer audience. Lois, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Okay, yeah. Everybody meets Lois. Lois is my friend from secondary school. But yeah, each time I look at the phone or I look at the screen and I don't see Lois's name, I get worried. So I'm just pointing that out. Okay, now back to the conversation. This thing can be explained systematically. So I'm a system designer. I am somebody who designs systems and operations. I am a systems thinker and design thinker. Now, there are different kind of systems or different kind of companies. So I'll give you an example that will tie this up so that we can go to the next idea, which is creative thinking, right? Redemptive work as an idea that you need to get from a system or a company view, right? That idea is this. There are three types of companies. There is the unethical company. And I'll give you the example of an unethical company. Unethical companies are the companies that they have waste and they trade on the streets. So don't be that shop. I know that you may think, oh, my shop is small, this, that. But you're a tailoring shop and all the waste from your fashion produces, from your clothes, from the clothes you make, from everything, rubber, whatever you use, you dump it in the gutter right in front of the shop. Hoping that water will wash it away. It doesn't work that way. We all know that. But people do it anyway, and it's wrong. It's wrong. It doesn't work that way. So you should not be an ethical business. So I was trying to explain unethical businesses, right? Unethical businesses are the businesses where they are owing staff salary. And in this instance, it's not because the company is not making profit. In this instance, not because anything is wrong. In this instance, it's because of the corruption and the theft of, the founders, right, of that company. It's because of their greed. Unethical businesses are businesses that, they don't treat staff right. They don't uplift people. They don't know how to leave people better than when they came. So I want to ask somebody to give me an example of an idea of a bad thing that you don't have to mention the organization, but that any organization that you know right now is doing. If you want to speak, just raise a hand with the button, and I'll call somebody. I want to call somebody. I know somebody I want to call, but I want to see if there's anybody who has a particular, idea. Anybody raising their hand? Okay, so I'm going to call Daniel. Muiwa, Daniel, are you with me?
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
All right, give us an
All right,
example of a
give us an
system that you
example
think is
of a
not
system that
functioning
you think
properly
is
right
not
now.
functioning properly right now. Sorry, the line is breaking. Come again.
A company
A
or an
company
organization
or an
that
organization
you think is not doing
that you
things
think is
right
not doing things right
right now.
A company
You don't need to
right
give
now
us the
or an
name, just something that
organization.
they're
You
not
don't need
doing
to
right.
give us the name, just something that they're not doing right. Okay. There are many companies not doing right. Tech companies.
Okay, what did they do wrong?
Okay, what did they do wrong? They could do better. It's not about what they are doing or the problem with what they are doing now. It's about what they are not doing,
Mm.
about um, aspects they don't have courage to actually face. It's more like a system problem. Okay, so the system is flawed, has flaws that either they are not capable of addressing or they don't want to address it because it would, step on toes. For example, now registering for NYC, okay, recently was a problem for so many people. Now we have tech companies, so many great tech companies in Nigeria that can bring about a solution to their portal problem and whatever it was that was the problem there. But for some reasons, they will not just do it. So
Great
yeah,
stuff.
tech companies,
Great stuff. Great
even
stuff.
great companies, food companies, they just have things they can do better, or either they don't have the courage to do it or they are not capable of doing it.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
I was going to, give, government example too, of recently I began to interface with, CSC sites, CSC portals, FIRS and all of that, now NRS. And it was so terrible because they were trying to, inculcate AI. But you see, because they intentionally went all out to rebuild their site functions properly now. You could get your business registered in 10 minutes. I'm telling you. Because it functions properly now. That's redemption. But they could have remained unethical. They could have remained bad. The site could have remained bad. Another way to be a very unethical is to overprice. So let me explain. Somebody on a random afternoon, I know that somebody now will say, is it my business? But I'm going to say it anyway. Somebody on a random afternoon with 2,000 naira in Nigeria should be able to get a meal, should be able to get a good, proper meal. Because we're a nation of food. But you'd see, so when I get to restaurants or places where I see people who charge properly, I mean, I have my money, but like they maybe I'm already expecting that they will call one spoon of rice 1,000. Have you pointed out this kind of restaurant where they call one spoon of rice 1,000? Well, if you live in cities like Lagos and Abuja, like I do, you would know that we're in for business in this country. Um, a spoon of rice 1,000. So you buy three, you buy two spag, you buy one spoon of fried rice. That's already 6,000. Then you buy chicken 4,000. That's 10,000. You've not bought salad. You've not bought other side dishes. But get my point. Here's my point. That meanwhile, you'd find places. So when I enter places where they not shock me, they not say, oh, and they call normal prices. At least we all know that it's inflation. But inflation does not mean that, oh, if you sell food for and they call normal price. I'm like, interesting. So wait, there are people who can do this, right? Like I'm honestly genuinely touched. Like I have the money, but like I'm grateful that you didn't decide to overbill me. Do you get? Like you didn't decide to. Oh, they will say it's the quality of the food. No, I'm saying some of these places have better food than the other places where they are overpriced. Are you guys feeling me? I know that, yeah, there's fine dining. Why not? You know what you're going for, right? There are high-end restaurants, great stuff. But I'm talking about exactly when your your meal doesn't match your price. Your service doesn't necessarily match your price. That the level of service you are offering, that price is outrageous for it. Or people who are offering that service at your range are not charging what you are charging, then you are unethical. Um, Here's the point. The point is that you get to choose. We are humans. You get to do whatever you want to do, right? But it is you who wants to add redemption to the earth, who wants to add beauty to the earth, that will decide that, nah, I'm not going to be the reason somebody can't get a meal. I'm not going to be the reason why somebody can't get a clothes. At the same time, I'm not going to underprice myself, but I'm also not going to overcharge. The next type of business is ethical business. These ones, they are doing all right. They do things at the normal standard they should do them. They pay staff salary when they should pay. They they don't dump waste incorrectly. They don't overprice or whatever. They file their taxes when they should file tax returns. Do things right, right? Those are ethical businesses. They're just doing it, at the bare minimum. But you see, if you are in a place of disadvantage, ethical is not enough. And that's exactly what the picture I've been painting at the beginning of this conversation. That the earth generally is already a disadvantaged place. So you see companies. Tell you guys a story that you may not know. When Western companies came to Africa or Nigeria, I'm talking companies like Shell, they and they had come long ago, right? But around the 1980s, 1990s, when military governments were ruling, these companies were paying very high salaries, which was global standard. They were paying salaries at global standard. So the salary of one staff in Shell can literally change the life of an entire generation, right? So they were paying very high, right? An average person will be earning things like $5,000, $10,000. Then, what the federal government of Nigeria did? They said it is too outrageous. It's too much to pay. These companies are making billions of dollars. I pronounce billions as billions intentionally. They're making billions and billions of dollars. And and the federal government said they should reduce how much they pay, so they have to reduce it, right? To match the economic, listen to me, to match the economic index of the country. That's to say, to keep people at where they are. Do you know how many more families, how many more persons could have been blessed or taken out of poverty by, I mean, what they even pay now is still high compared to other companies, right? This company, what they pay now is still high. But imagine how much they were paying then, and that was because they could afford to pay it. So I don't know what the arrangement was, but somehow all that remainder money would have been going somewhere else. And so this is my point. They were being ethical, right, by coming down to the price of the normal economic index of people in Nigeria, right? But the country is a disadvantaged place that needed all the help it could get. So, for a person who wants to create redemption on the earth, what you are supposed to do is to actually add extra value. And that's how we enter redemptive enterprises. A redemptive enterprise is not just a company that pays everybody their salary in December. They give people bonuses so that they can have a good time at home. A redemptive company is not just a company where the boss comes in the boardroom and gives everybody, oh, do this, do this, do this. That's an ethical company. You can command everybody, it should be you're paying them for their job. They should do their job and go. But the redemptive enterprise is the boss who can speak, concentrate on the meeting, but notice the woman who is not feeling great. And after the meeting, call her aside and ask her what happened. Because not just workplace, it's workplace mixed with a tone of redemption. It's workplace, it's marketplace, it's family. Redemptive families are not families where daddy just does what daddy should do, mommy just does what mommy should do, in quotes. Life will be terribly sad, terribly boring if everybody is an adult, right? If all people do is get married, have sex, give birth to children, they don't laugh with each other in the house. They just come as if it's a contract. The redemptive family doesn't just provide television in the house so that everybody can watch as basic. The father is not providing television in the house just because he should be there. He's doing it with intention because he wants his family to come together. He wants to spend time with his boys. He wants to play PS5 with them. I don't know about PS, but is PS5 the latest? Who knows about PS here? Anybody? Before I continue. Anybody who knows about
Yes,
PS?
yes, it is PS5. It's
It-
PS5.
It's a lady that is telling us. Really interesting. Who is the person speaking just now?
Bamigboye Deborah.
Okay. It can only be you. I mean, okay. And I've been surprised. But yeah, the point is this, that intention matters. Intention matters with everything. Intention matters with giving somebody money. Let me explain. This is where I will close redemptive work and go to the next thing. We see I've used the word for other things: redemptive enterprise, redemptive families, redemptive institutions. So it's not just work, but this is where I will close close the example. A friend comes to you, they want money. Like you guys are in public at a party, they quickly need, let's say, 5,000 naira cash to maybe quickly go somewhere. They don't have cash. Unethical is that you throw the money at them or you even shout at them and say, why you go they ask me for money? And you say it loud. Meanwhile, this person spoke to your ear. Ethical will be you bring out the money, you say, return this money faster, and you give them the money. You have not done anything wrong. You've given them the money they asked for, but maybe you've not added value. You've not created beauty. You've not protected somebody's dignity, even though you did it ethically. Redemption will be that you tell them, oh, let's take a walk. Then you give them the money outside. Or you give them the money in a way that nobody else sees it without holding it against them. Especially the fact that if you can give somebody 5,000 naira, it means that you have more than 5,000, or at least you can sacrifice for that person 5,000. Because if I have 5,000 naira and that's all I have, and you ask me, and I can't sacrifice 5,000 for you, I won't give you. But my closest friends are King David and Judah. Some persons here might know them. If King David comes to me and asks for 5,000 naira and 5,000 all I have, he gets 5,000 naira. In fact, he gets 5,001. Do you guys get the point? So, but I'm saying, if anything can bring me to the point of giving him 5,000 naira, then I won't do it embarrassingly. In fact, I would do it with removing my mind from it because I know it will give me back. And if he's not going to give me back, I'm going to fight him. But like, I'll fight him inside the house. Like, I go beat you. But guys, get the point from the example I just gave that there is a way to do things, and this is the point. This is the final conclusion point. There's a way to do things such that you don't leave people with more ought, or such that you don't leave the world just as it is, just normally. Unethical is you leave people with more ought. Ethical is you just leave it as it is. But redemptive is you add an extra. If you got me up to that point, can you send an emoji up so that I can go to the next idea? All right. All right. The next idea is creative thinking, and I would quickly go through this so that you guys can get it. Now, the reason why the one of the other aspects of redemptive enterprises or redemptive work that people don't focus on is that I said a word at the beginning, and I said I would explain it along the line, and that's the word beauty. Everybody does things in a rush. I've been seeing this trend on Twitter and everywhere. People saying, "How is it that we lost colors? Cartoons of those times are not as cartoons of now are not as cute or as interesting as cartoons of then. Buildings of now, can you see minimalism everywhere? White buildings, grey buildings. Everything is just everything looks like a graveyard. We are constantly reducing color on the earth in the name of class, right? Something that is classy needs to look black and grey. And so I saw different images. Oh my god, I wish I had screenshotted stuff that I could show you guys right now. But I think I might have bookmarked the tweet. So maybe as I'm speaking, I would try and look for it. I just don't want to be distracted. But it was something that I had realized myself. And this is the point I'm trying to point out here. It was also something I discovered recently with Catholicism. Catholicism, all our lives, me as a person, all my life, I've been taught to, if you're a Catholic here, can you say I? Is there any Catholic in the building? Okay, if you've ever entered any Catholic church, because I'm about to give an example. If you ever entered any Catholic church, say I. You can unmute your mic. Oh, I'm not on the app, so
Hi.
all right, interesting. But nobody's Catholic. Okay. I'm also not finding the image I'm looking for, the tweet I'm looking for. But the tweet compares a garage in 1980, like when you are at the top of a skyscraper or from one office, from a skyliner, and you look down and you see garage of cars parked downstairs. And most of the cars were colorful, green, blue, red, different colors of cars. And then with a garage in 2025 of cars, and all you see is black, gray, blue, black, like it's just dull and one color. Now, same thing goes to the way we do everything, the way we paint houses. Houses in those days would have pillars and very elaborate colorings and all of that. And then we are in an age where everything is minimalist. You see houses that they advertise on Instagram for you and on TikTok in Ikoyi and Lekki and everywhere. The kind of house that everybody wants to build now, with table in the kitchen center and a very tall tap for the zinc and glass windows, and everything is just white, and the chairs are not ornamented. Who stole colors away from us? Because the idea I'm trying to discuss right now is creative thinking. And I always tell my friends, again, you will hear me mention one of my closest friends, King David, right? He's a graphic designer. I'm also, a designer, but I'm not a graphic designer. I design systems, right? And so, for example, if I share the flyer of all the events I've done, you see a constancy of excellence in all of them. But it's not just that. I do projects for institutions and organizations, and I ensure that there is a space for wonder. And that's what I want to point out to you when I'm pointing out creative thinking. That you should not do anything without leaving the space for wonder. And here's what the space for wonder means. You've designed it, it's smooth, everything is okay, it has followed principles. But can you throw in some chaos? I've done it before, that I'll write a letter to a very serious organization, maybe to the federal government, and throw in humor in it. Yes, me. I'll throw humor into a letter that I'm writing to United Nations. Because are we still human? Or we are all robots now? Can we still walk on the street and your eye catches a flower and you take a minute without being shy to take a picture? Can you still walk on the street and see a beautiful person who has dressed well and tap them and say, you look good? I really think that you combine these pieces well. But you see, everybody's in a rush. We live in a world where and see, it begins to not have, it's not just about external things. It begins to act, not even it begins to, it starts from the heart. So we've lost compassion. We've lost our taste for beauty. We've lost. Do you know what a good wine is? Do you know what a good movie is? I'm the kind of person who watches movies and notices everything. Like, I'm like, oh, I see what the director did there. And everybody in the room is like, we saw it too. But it didn't trigger you enough. like you've lost your childlike wonder so much that you saw it. I'm not saying that everybody has to be like me. I'm not saying everybody has to be a noisemaker or an extrovert. You don't have to be. But you would see when somebody is even an introvert who is a quiet person, but you see that when they notice something, a smile beams on their face. They kind of come alive. That's not what people do anymore. Or when somebody does it, we give them the eye. We roll our eyes like, why are you disturbing the peace of the cinema? Are you the first person to have a boyfriend? And all these memes that are flying around, they look like memes, but they are the true. I hope that you guys get what I'm saying. Now back to where I said creative thinking, because it's not supposed to be a work webinar, and so I'm trying to apply it to many other things, right? That when you want to establish something, you want to build a family, you want to build a house, you want to write a letter, whatever, you want to lay your bed. Can you for once not tie your tie the same way you've tied it in the last 10 years? Can you for once try and wear scarf? Because you only have one life. So wear scarf on your neck like a French person. And try a bow tie. Can we for once, as humans, be humans again? And this is the perspective I want you to see it from. You get maybe 60, 70, 80 years, and you never for once decided to, or you never used your free will enough to take much strolls. You didn't know how 3 streets away from your house looked. Don't go and get lost, though. But you never went to the theater. You never tried to play a musical instrument. And then now let's bring it to work that matters, right? You're a fashion designer. You are somebody give me a job that looks very serious. An engineer, even engineering, as serious as it is, you're supposed to throw in wonder. Have you seen amazing engineering by intelligent people around the world? That's exactly how the world is supposed to be. Have you seen engineering monuments from 100 years ago still standing and still looking very fine, better than a bridge that they built 2 years ago? A bridge from 1882, still looking better than bridges of 2022. That's the exact art that we lost as a people. And so I'm trying to tell you as a person, I'm trying to communicate to you as a person to to begin to rewire your mind, to begin to expose yourself again to things that are meaningful. Are we together? And let me say that, you see, when God made man, according to the Bible, yeah, I'm saying that because, as I said, I'm Christian, but I want to take into account that, oh, there can be somebody who doesn't believe in Jesus and we say, oh, these people religious people. So let's take the Bible as a literary reference right now, right? Because it's the greatest literary text that exists. And then God said, "Be fruitful and multiply, and have dominion over the earth." And you, as a person, you never multiply anything. You never bring fruits. You never do something to taste. You never add detail to something. Honestly, you are reducing the beauty of the earth. Um, I'll give an example that captures it and then move to the final thought of the night. This example is not an example that you'd expect. But I've been saying that if you think that, oh, let me just do things normally, this and that and that and that, you're actually a criminal too. Right? Yes, I'm not stealing from anybody, I'm not fighting anybody, I'm not removing anything. You are removing. Let me give an example. And this is an example that you may not agree to, but if you think of it critically or listen to me very well, you get a point. You are going somewhere and somebody falls into a gutter. What are you supposed to do? Somebody unmute your mic and just tell me.
You are probably to pick up the person and probably watch him up, something like that.
Okay, great stuff. Help them up. Stricto sensu, if we are looking at it from a mind your business perspective, if you don't help the person, have you done anything wrong?
No.
Great stuff. Which is what we will say in the today's world of mind your business. In the today's world of I decide what I want to do with my time. I decided to take a stroll. I'm on earpiece. If person let them fall inside the water at Third Milan Bridge. My own is that I'm taking a walk and I've told myself I'll not be distracted. So you are a person who has built a system. That's I will not be distracted. But you do not have space for wonder. You do not have space for a bit of chaos. And that wonder, that chaos, that diving into the water because you can swim, to bring them out is the beauty of your evening walk. But you missed it. Now let me say that scriptures say, the Bible says, that to him who knows how to do good but doeth it not is evil. So in actual fact, not helping them, you have actually done something wrong. Because if it's within your means, so listen carefully, because as I said, I'm a very balanced person. If you were rushing to work, or God forbid, your wife just fell into labor and you're driving back home and you're on speed, and you could not wait to help somebody, maybe an accident happened along the way, like not you, an accident that happened, and they are stopping people to pass, to help them carry people to the hospital, and you cannot stop. You have not done anything wrong because it's not within your power. But I'm saying it is within your power. It is within your power to help. But I'm on my evening drive. I don't want my car seats to be stained. So you drive past an accident scene. In quotes, you've done nothing wrong. That's very terrible. That's the ideology of mind your business, don't do an extra that we have as a people, that also we are beginning to do with, oh, don't tell my child what to do. But the thing is, if your boy is not well raised and is going to misbehave to girls, I'm going to flog your boy in public. I'm just saying it now, disclaimer. So all these nonsense shenanigans of, oh, we are living in neighborhoods where you can't, in those days, the entire village raises a child. But now, you can't beat somebody else's child. Fine. I won't beat your child. But if your child does something wrong, and I see the scale of a societal problem that can be established. And I see how nonchalant you are about, I'm going to correct your child. And we're going to fight there. In fact, I'm going to show your child how irresponsible of a parent you are. Because I'm going to try to correct your child, and you're going to challenge me, and I'm going to challenge you back. Because there are some of us, and there are some of you who will leave this conversation tonight very angry with the way things are done right now. Who would begin to re-trigger. See, there are men who lived in times past, who will read in books now and talk about as legends, who lived life to the core, who had the best of existence, who read books and traveled and married beautiful women. And I mean, every woman is beautiful, every man is beautiful. I'm saying they went all out on life because you only get one. And I'm rounding up creative thinking. You only get one. So can you allow yourself live to the fullest form of beauty? And so I'll round up with the last thought of the night. What exactly is beauty? I mentioned the Catholic Church earlier. And I was reading an article recently because the last thought of on the flyer is excellence and quality. And I may not necessarily discuss those wordings. So I'll discuss beauty, and then you from there you'll be able to derive the essence of excellence and quality. I was, reading about the Catholic Church recently. I've been, reading about the Catholic Church, and I found a few things. Apart from, from the many things I found, one of the things that I found was that, you see, I mentioned Nasarawa State. Now somebody has joined us from Nasarawa State. Comfort, welcome. Were you on the call when I mentioned Nasarawa State earlier? Is Comfort on the call?
Good evening, I'm on the call.
Oh yeah, welcome. Hi, is Nasarawa?
Nasarawa is fine now.
Welcome. Now,
Thank you.
back to the thought I was trying to communicate, that the idea of beauty is not a vanitous idea. The idea of beauty is not facials or jewelries or looking good alone. In the first place, it takes a person who is intentional with their dressing, with the way they look, with their outfits, to even be able to correctly present their outlook. That's their face and their body, right? It takes extreme intentionality to combine dresses in your wardrobe to look super nice, right? Somebody unmute your mic and say yes now.
Yes.
All right, great stuff.
That's true, actually.
And then that same intentionality can be applied to everything. And let me explain what beauty is, because I mentioned at the beginning, I said I was going to, explain it in thought, and then I'm using it to round up now. That so have you, as I said, have you been in Catholic Church? And some people said yes. And you see how they build their buildings. Ceilings are painted. We have not even entered proper Catholic, let me not say proper Catholic churches, but like we've not entered some of the grandest chapels in the world, right? Some of the, you hear St. Paul's Basilica, and you hear of different churches around the world, like the one where Temi Otedola did a wedding, and different buildings and different auditoriums and church buildings around the world. And it may look like, oh, yeah, all we need to do, new generation Christians, we pray in the Holy Ghost. Lawrence Oyor was saying something about how in 20, and I prefer 2018, 2019 Lawrence Oyor to the current Lawrence Oyor. I don't mean like I don't like him, I mean like I like the songs from then than, and I feel like I'm becoming like our parents who used to like old songs than new songs. And then when new songs start coming out, we're like, Kilon Shine people, is that what you're supposed to be listening to? But, now back to the point I was trying to make. It was saying that, that time they didn't care about studio recording. They didn't care about, whatever. They just chant and pray and do 12 hours, and whether the roof is leaking or not. And, we have that idea, right? You see a Redeemed church in every 5-minute walk, or that's the idea of the church, right? You see a Deeper Life church or an Apostolic Faith or a Winners church on every street or every corner, right? and modern churches, apart from lights and stage light and all of that, we are really not building cathedrals with intention. We are building buildings, great stuff, but like with intention. Somebody says, "Oh, how is it important?" What even if you're not a Christian, listen carefully. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. How is it important? It's not just worship God and go this, that. Let me explain something. God did not create man to live a life of just constantly try and hustle to make heaven. Nah, that's not the intent. God made man to live on the earth a beautiful and excellent life. The last webinar I held was the excellent life, right? So I'm talking about excellence and quality now. And if you look at the story of creation, you see how he made Eden. And you would notice that there was such intention, you could imagine such beauty of a place. And that God, when they describe heaven, or when you read from the Bible about heaven, streets paved with gold, seats of gold, thrones and lights and powers, and you can imagine the most unimaginable beauty. The true intent of God's relationship with man, for you who may not believe in God, and I always do this for people that I want to catch when I want to bring people to Christ. I tell them that you should just take a moment to imagine that there's a God, even if you don't agree that there's one. The moment you start imagining that there's a God, you start believing that there's one. But yes, I've given out my secrets, but I'll still say it. Take a moment to imagine that there's a God. And do you really think that he's interested in ordinary things? God is so beautiful himself, right? Angels just look at him and cry holy for the rest of their existence. People think that when we get to heaven, in quotes here, that's going to be boring. What do you mean we're going to be crying holy? Have you seen a beautiful person that the party doesn't make sense anymore? The music, you've stopped hearing it. You just keep looking at them. Like, how can a person, just one person, be this pretty? How can a guy be this fine? Be this, and the person doesn't even know that you're looking at them. Can you see how things don't matter in the face of beauty? And that's exactly why orthodox institutions and ancient organizations built things to quality, to excellence, to almost an outer worldly status. They were building things to a status of beyond this world. Like a status of we are on earth, all we have is mud and clay and cement. But if we can, with what God has given us, if we can create the highest forms of art, then we will. And you see an artist sculpting a single statue for maybe 30 years of their life. A single statue. But today we rush. You just make one, 2 weeks, you are done. Because everybody wants to make money, profit. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I started with. That we are in this constant hustle and bustle, which is not wrong. Because in the first place, you need to scale this poverty, third world fence, right? But that the true call of your life and the true call of you as a person and the true things that really matter to us. At the end of the day, everybody's actually trying to make money so you can go back to these things. You want to make money so you can get your freedom back. You want to make money so you can travel the world. You can see beautiful stuff. You can see waterfalls and travel on private jets and drink the best of wine. They will tell you that this wine has been kept in a room in Japan since 1820. And all you want to do is taste something that ancient. All that man truly desires is beauty. See, in fact, you were made for beauty. You were made beautiful. So it's why you should be angry when you see dirt on the road. I am living in Nigeria and I am a Nigerian who is so consumed with beauty that being in this place feels like hell. And so Orthodox churches build those kind of cathedrals intentionally so that at least, you think these people don't know God. At least when you come into, in quotes, the house of God, you feel what you were actually meant to originally feel. So they play piano and the choirs sing as if they are angels, and the ceiling, as you look up, you see art on the top, and the chairs are carved in a special way. And so all your senses, they build their cathedrals in such a way that all your senses, and this was being explained by somebody, all your senses, your eyes, your ears, your nose, you perceive fragrances and turari, what's it called? Incense, right? And your mouth, um, everything can taste, can feel an essence. So somebody says, "Oh, we have the Holy Ghost and all of that," which is exactly what we experience in quotes when we are, praying in the Holy Ghost and this and that. All your body is filled with a literal glory because you literally don't feel like you're on earth. You feel like you're in another place. And that's exactly what can be curated into our homes, that you can create in workspaces. That can we build cars? Can we build houses? Because I don't want to live in a boring house with my wife and children. Can we build things that restore man to his, I'm about to say things that sound dirty, to his most original and raw state? Because see, and here is what I want to say. Don't live a life where you aspire to a very poor sexual life. Terrible stuff. Because you were made to experience it. Don't live a life where you aspire to poverty. You are not made to be poor. You are a governor of the earth. God made the earth and put you as a governor. He said, "Be fruitful and multiply and have dominion." So you have no right to be mediocre. I'm telling you now, you have no right to not live to your fullest. So in fact, things like money should be the least of our concerns. Like, I as a person, I have the goal to retire at 28. To make all the money I can. Like, bastardly rich. And as of now, I'm still playing. As it seems. So that the rest of my life, I can spend it actually pursuing the true things of life. As I said, it was the underlying thought of this conversation tonight. Can you, as a person, begin to intentionally find things that draw your senses, draw your persona, draw your being to possibilities? To the possibility of better than you can currently see. So I know that all your life you've just dreamed of getting a good job, but can you start dreaming of being a creator of things, creative thinking, a creator of things? And not everybody has to be a tech founder. Not everybody has to get into AI. You can have enough money to employ all of those people, but all you wanted to design was a teddy bear. That's kind of is a little girl. I don't think that's innovative, but I'm just trying to say. Do you guys get my point? That's, if you can hear me, I want you to eat those emojis, but I'll keep on speaking. That you can intentionally either begin to look out for or begin to curate systems, structures, designs, whatever your hand finds to do. You begin to do it with all your might. And see, if you do it and I do it and 20 of us on this call do it, can you imagine how more beautiful the world will be? Guys, do you guys get what I've been trying to communicate since? So when I'm saying redemptive work and you cannot allow yourself just be ordinary and allow decay around you, and I'm also talking about creative thinking and excellence and quality, you begin to see that everything we do right now, except people who have grasped this ideology and concept of life, everybody is doing things at an ordinary level. So honestly, guys, people like Elon Musk are very few. And it's why people, of course, somebody can say it's luck, whatever. But it's why people that have that kind of billions are few too. I'm saying that you owe yourself, one, you owe the people around you, you owe your own immediate environment, you owe your country, for king and country, right? You owe your nation, and you owe the earth beauty. So first of all, do basic stuff for us. Look good every day. Learn how to dress, to communicate, to love people. Because you can be ethical, but can you be extra? Can you love people more? I know they've hurt you. And I'm sounding like a preacher now. But if there's anybody who can be angry, I have rights to be angry at this concept of love. but that you're always and still a lover. Because that's what you are. You're not the person that is shaped by the decay of your environment. No. You carry a life and a power and a beauty that you can use to, as a response, reshape your own world. So you're not affected by the decay of your environment. You, in turn, or in reverse, create beauty on the earth. It's been exactly 1 hour now since I've been recording. I want to say finally that I'm very aware that after this conversation tonight, people will go back to their normal lives. Mommy will call you to come and fry chicken now. You remember that you have dirty clothes that you want to wash, that you don't want to carry into the first week of work. Things will start running at you again. You start seeing somebody's status that will, disturb your mind, and you will not know what made you angry yesterday night when you wake up tomorrow morning. And life will continue. But I want to say that it's not a life worth living if you just flow with the flow. The life actually worth living is if you intentionally push your uniqueness on the earth. You intentionally give of yourself, give of your own. See, it's not anything hard. You don't have to write a book. You can write books if you want. I'm just saying. It could be as simple as the way you type things out, the way you respond to people, the way you smile, the way you post on your status, the kind of post you make, the kind of project you deliver, the way you make people's hair, the way you as a plumber repairs things. That's exactly how to redeem the earth. That's exactly how to put the earth back in the way it should be. Because you and I are the governors of the earth. Thank you, guys. I'll take questions. I'll take like 2 or 3 so that we can close for the night. I want to, if you've got stuff tonight, can you type on the group on WhatsApp and let me, know how you how it has hit you. Okay, I can see one person raising their hand already. I want to see 3 so that I'll take questions and then we can close for the moment. But yeah, I want to see people typing on WhatsApp too. Everybody, even if you're not asking a question, type something on WhatsApp. Let me know what your feedback is. Right now. Everybody.
Sorry, can we ask a question with Mike?
Yes. You can go ahead and please ask the question while others are typing stuff on WhatsApp.
All right, sir. Yeah. So, I'm
Sorry,
quietly
wait. Before
busy.
you ask, if you're not typing on WhatsApp, then I'll take it that you didn't get anything from tonight. And that's the lack of intention that exactly I'm trying to address. So I expect everybody to intentionally go and add value. Oh yeah. Everybody right now, WhatsApp, go type on the group. Or type on the chat here if you're not on the WhatsApp group. But yeah, I'm sure that please go on with the question.
All right. So I'm already being intentional. I have to iron my clothes for church tomorrow. So now, um, you talked about you know, the childhood behavior, of just being yourself, just being who you were then, like add the beauty, those beauties of those days then, and replenish it now. And it seems like many things has eaten up these things. So now, aside from that one, seems like some set of people can be a little bit less emotional in a way. And then when some things happen, it seems like this thing shouldn't really, it shouldn't um, take, shouldn't affect you this much. Why you like this? And the way they just, shun. Now, what would you like to say to, what would you like to say concerning those set of people who have a little less of emotion? Sometimes when people watch movies, some people crying, why some people just feel like it's just a movie, right? And why are you so emotional like this, someone like me, I can say I'm in that category. I'm in that category, not fully anyway, but when I see people, crying over something that is not like a matter of life and death, it doesn't really, getting deep, right? So what would you like to say concerning that in the, putting beauty, seeing flowers, taking pictures. Some people just see it as enough image. So
I am very, very, I, I feel very, I don't know, ecstatic that somebody asked that question. The last few weeks I've been having conversations with my friends because we are becoming men, and we are boys who used to hug, and now getting a hug now feels like, this afternoon my friend hugged me when he got back home from and I felt very happy. I want to say something that, you see, when I was describing decay earlier, this decay cuts across everything. When I said decay, it cuts across the fact that people are losing, their sense of. So when every conversation tonight, every part of this conversation tonight, it touches every single thing. It's actually true and actually part of the decay to know that people are losing their sense of feeling, of compassion, of innocence, right? And that's exactly where we are in the world right now, right? But it's not a question of where we are in the world, because um, it's a question of individual, right? Individual persons, individual people who, over the ages, over the times, or over the course of their lives or life experiences. My friend that I've mentioned this morning just entered the room, so. Um, but yeah, back to what I was trying to say. That so over times, right? You discover that as people grow older, they begin to lose those senses of innocence and all of that. So first thing I want to say is that it's not a correct thing. Life can be. I'm finding a way to express this thing. Life can beat you so hard that one of my friends once described something as, have you seen men who life beats so down? This man is probably 60 something years old, but he drives a 32-year-old man. He is so humble. Listen, I'm not saying, listen. There's dignity of labor, and every man is proud in his own right. But I'm talking about the effect that life has had on them unintentionally, and that life can have on people in different ways. So it's not just a question of money. It can be a question of, oh, you've tried to love over and over and people have broken your heart. Or you've tried to do things right, but you keep being underpaid for it. And so now nothing, you don't send anybody again. You get, or you've tried to do things, you've gone extra mile to do things for people, and they were not appreciative of it. Which is what I was trying to say earlier. When I said that you do not just answer to the flow, because there are things that will make you quit your idea of greatness, of goodness, of excellence, of possibilities. Everything, in fact, if I want to come from a Christian point of view right now, Satan is the controller of the earth. He has taken authority, right? Only those of us who know that we need to take authority back. And that's exactly what I'm trying to push to you right now, because the idea is that everything will try to beat you into the image of what you're not. So you're a lover and you start hating on people. You are what are you? And you start becoming the opposite of everything that you were made to be. And here's what I would say. It's counsel, it's advice, but I want you to look at it from this point before I now give the final advice. Look at it from the perspective of your life is yours. And that's why I was giving examples of people that have lived across centuries who decided that they were going to live. They will. I don't want to use myself as an example, but let me use an example of people that are ancient. They would leave their own country. They would dress in different ways. And I said, they would marry beautiful women. They would travel the world on ships and across oceans and live adventurous lives against the advice of their family and against the advice of their parents and all of that. Because they are aware of beauty. They are aware of. Give me a moment. I won't do them now. They are aware of the fact that they only have one life to live. And this is what I'm about to say. So even if you don't believe in a Satan, let's just agree that everything in the world is working against you. You are a lover boy. You are a very sentimental person. Of course, every man learns to be stoic. Stoicness doesn't in any way contradict emotions. In fact, stoicness is an embraced emotion that allows other emotions to flourish. Right. So I'm from the school of thought of stoicness, but I'm saying that it is not because life happened to you that you became stoic and sad. It's because you chose talking. Do you get what I'm saying? So if, as I said, everybody has a right to choose. If you chose to be a classroom teacher all your life, that's fulfillment for you, right? Somebody else knows that they are called to draw. Somebody else knows that they are called to create tech. Somebody else knows that they are called to be a president. So let everybody go after their. But that in everything you are called to do, you live your own ideal. So I'm saying that even if you chose to be a stoic person, it's with intention. You curated it. I'm about to say something now that my Christian folks will fight me for. But if you choose to be an adulterer, do it with intention. Do you get the point? Don't do anything because you are stupid. Don't do anything because life happened to you. Don't do anything because Konji is catching you and you're just running up and down. See, it's called. See, I'm about to say things that I said earlier. I was going to. It's called the art of seduction. Seduction is an art. People live as they call them libertines, right? People live as libertines that they intentionally live very promiscuous. In quotes, you as a moralist, you call it promiscuous, but they are living their best life. They are artists. They drink. They go to parties. They enjoy the earth. As against all of the ideologies of be serious, build inventions, be an Albert Einstein. The point is, Albert Einstein played violin and rode bicycles. He lived a very beautiful life. So your physics teacher will make you feel like if you have not understood all the laws of physics, or if you are not serious like him, you don't know what's going on with life. He's lying to you. The man needs beauty in his life. He needs inspiration. He needs art. So don't let your guys who are sad because of circumstances that happen to them and they can't beat it allow you now also become a person who loses his own emotions. In fact, you should be the one, and that's the importance of this conversation tonight. You should be the one that continues to push beauty, that continues to push ideals and ideas of liberty and beauty and excellence and creativity and all of that, right? Back to them, because that's your own environment and those are the people that you have been called to redeem. Do you get the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm following.
All right. So again, when life beats you hard, just fight back with your own ideals instead of going with you know um the flow. All right. Second question or third question, so that we can close. Any other person? I would 21 people and no questions. That's interesting. That means I'm a good speaker, is it? Or you people didn't get anything? But I can see the group. I really really love these things you people are saying. Makes me feel like I should come and learn from you guys. Interesting stuff. So one more question. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much, Daniel. Okay. Daniel is raising his hand. That's Moyiwa. Are you? Please go ahead with your question.
Yes,
Please
I
go ahead
am.
with your question.
I'll take that as a final question of
I'll
the
take
night.
that as a final question of the night.
Okay. Good evening, group. Good evening, Akinola. Thank you very much for the opportunity. So I resonated very deeply with your um, speech. You spoke with so much passion that even if someone just starts to join for the sake of training, the person can admit that they've learned so much. Now, you spoke about our system of living. Okay, I call it system because you yourself spoke about how everything is interconnected, how every of our action impresses on others, how it affects situations and things around us and everything. And then this brought me to something like a conclusion to call it our system of civilization. Now, when we look at the past here, okay, you said something, if I recall very well, that um, Orthodox churches, Orthodox systems, even the past history, okay, focused on things that um, truly mattered, focused on beauty, focused on um, structures, system, focused on ideologies and everything. And then when we look at the past, look at the creative minds that we so much look up to today, Einstein and the rest, it almost seems like we let the era of creativity end with them. It's almost like for some reason intentionally that our system of thinking has been streamlined to a point where we are made unable to look for solutions outside the current system of our living. Whenever you talk about making impact, look into the system. So we've something like picked a system and we've decided that we are going to die as a civilization with this system. It's either it works or it works. No opportunity to look beyond it, look into the chaos, like you said. And then when we looked in the past, when we look at universities in the past, okay, when we look at them from an ideological standpoint, philosophical standpoint, and there were so many, in fact, there was a point where philosophical debates were things that really mattered compared to now where what really matters is wealth and power and all. So when we look at all these things, the way universities are degrading, the way things are just coming down, this is also somehow related to the question my dear friend asked earlier. When we look at, we seem so small, and then I understand, like you said, that we should push back and all, but it seems like there is a force targeted at chaotic minds like you trying to look outside the system for solutions that the current system cannot provide. So deliberate efforts to bring down educational institutions that once promoted creative thinking, creative minds, and everything. I mean, we'll not just even look at Nigerian universities alone. Even if you go abroad now, everybody is streamlined. Okay, this is my liberal ideology, my conservative ideology, and this and that, and this and that. So it almost seems impossible, totally impossible
To recover.
to go out of this. And
To
I've
recover.
asked to recover. Sorry.
I said to recover.
I said to recover. Yeah. And I've asked something like this before, and then I get answers like, have you even been able to
It's good.
find solutions in the current system? So why are you trying to look outside? What if there are no solutions in the current system? What if our system is made for doom? Like, how do we get out of this? Like, how do we come out? How are we able to actually look into the chaos like you spoke about? Something beyond what we've been limited to. Like the real meaning of thinking out of the box. Like practical ways we can actually do, because there are so many of us that want to make impacts and see that there may not be solutions in the box. We want to look out of it, but we don't know steps. Like we really do not know steps to take. We have personal problems, our own personal developmental problems. Like we can't even get out of ourselves.
All
Talk
right.
less of important of outside the system.
I see. I think that's another very important question. This is. I really like the questions that people are asking because these were the real intent of my art when I was coming here, and I like that the questions are helping to trigger those parts of the conversation. And I said that's the final question of the night because I want people to be able to go back to their beautiful lives. But here it is. Sadly, yeah, every generation seems to have its own idea of the day. But one thing you would realize is that culture can be changed. Culture is not what people say it is. I mean, it's not what people that you met on ground say it is. Culture is what you decide is going to be the culture of your own day, of your own existence. And this is what I want you to get from this. It's going to be hard. But as you said, in those days, we see people gathering in circles, philosophers philosophizing. Paul can go around the world traveling and trying to teach. You hear of Aristotle and all of these Socrates, and people gather around them. You see, I started this conversation tonight also saying, once in a while or in a few places, you would see, people gather in circles and somebody will post on Instagram how one guy is answering questions on Bible. And I'm just wondering, can we do the same in Nigeria? And now look at what I just said. Listen very carefully. Look at what I just said. Can we do the same in Nigeria? Because why? Here, the tolerance or the time. I already said all of this is at the beginning, right? The time or the bandwidth for anybody to wait in the hot sun to be debating something with you on the streets of Lagos is not there. In countries where they have more working systems, where things already look like it's at least better, they still get to do street debates and conversations. Charlie Kirk was killed for that reason. These videos of these guys, Jordan Peterson, this other man that talks about Bible on the street. I still watched this video today. These are people who live in America, right? The point I'm making with this is this. And the ancient world, there was lots of it. What does that point to us? Where systems work right, where there is redemption, where there is abundance, right? There is art, there is creativity, there is beauty, there is true living. So here is my answer to you, brother. That first, we have two duties. The first one is the answer that I gave to Shadrach earlier, which is that we must not stop. You should not, because the system is fighting you, now stop. That's why someone like me is creating this kind of conversation. So you have the duty, right, to spark people around you. You have the duty to actually institute beauty on the earth in the place that God has domiciled you. It's called placemaking, right? Terraformation. Terraformation is the idea of shaping the earth. And another way to perceive it is, cultural engineering. So, for example, look at the Christian culture, right? We grew up in churches that were very, 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 I don't even know the word to use now. Because in trying to be holy, we created systems that did not allow for expression, right? Because we felt that those expressions were not of God. Meanwhile, these expressions are exactly things that exist in God's universe, like hip-hop music that has only been practiced by people in secular spaces or in worldly spaces. And so now, by cultural engineering or cultural re-engineering and cultural architecture, we have people like Gaze Baba, and in spaces, right, Christian artists, we could list like about 10 of them right now, who are beginning to make Afro gospel music. Before, we only had Afro beats, which was secular, but now we have Afro gospel. The point is that up until now, if you had sung that song in 1980, you are a back. Panam Pasipo. It is well, it is well, it is well in the name of Jesus. That song was considered backsliding and worldly when he was singing it at his time. But now, that's like the hymn, Abi. Our own is the very terrible one. Here is the
I
point.
think that was Bucci.
Oh, yeah, it was Bucci. I knew that I was not correct with it. But Panam Pasipo also had one song like that, By the way, I saw Bucci this year. In fact, I have a book from him. I got a book from him. And it's currently in my stack of books right now. I can see the book, right? And the book was exactly about this kind of thing. I think the book was called Rebel or Revolution or something. And that's the exact idea. The idea is that we must rebel. We must shape culture. So we are the ones who determine what culture we live in. Daniel, I will say it again. You and I, Praise, Tolu, Kende, Priesthood, Feromi, everybody on this call, Onyinye, Priceless, Demilade, every single person, you and I are the ones, SOG, are the ones who determine the culture we're going to live in. So if, in quotes, women did not used to wear trousers in their age because trousers were modest, well, in our age, women wear trousers. Okay? Who says trouser is the clothes for the men? You get that's how culture is changed. So my point is, a people can determine what culture is, and if we decide to reinstitute art and beauty and doing things excellently with intention, redemptively, if you and I decide that we are going to start by our actions and then by our conversations. We are going to read books, we are going to understand things, and we're going to, in every space and every time we get a chance, do something that makes the earth better. Then we begin to reshape things. So we should not stop doing things like this. So my first answer is to, say rebel, right? But the second one, I think my mind is skipping my mind right now. Um, the second one was going to be related to, the idea of cycles of civilizations, and that it just so happens that the civilization we are in right now looks like this. And see, honestly, in another 100 or 200 years, people could be studying the way civilization is right now, the way buildings are built right now, and all of that, and feel like, oh, that was such a beautiful art, because the world might have changed. People like us might have now change the world and take the world back to its artful state. And the people now say, oh, but there was a time when things were minimalist, and we start going minimalism again. Look at when we're growing up. Big trousers felt like they were ugly, right? And everybody was wearing pencil trousers. Look at all the music bands we listened to growing up. Westlife, One Direction. All those guys wore pencil, right? Look at artists, Whiskey, Davido. All of them wore pencil. But now, culture has changed. Everywhere, everybody wears baggy. The same baggy that we ran away from. Do you get the point? So the answer I would say is this thing that we are doing right now, this call that we are on right now, this conversation that we're having right now, we need plenty more of it. We need plenty more, discussions. We need plenty more conversations. We need plenty more intentions. We need plenty more actions, right? To actually remake the earth, to take it to its possible best state in our days. So if there is something you as a person knows that can make the earth better, like, it starts with the little things. So it's not about webinars or stuff, right? But those things are very important too. But I'm saying, like, if there is something you as a person knows that you can do, that you should do, that people no longer do, or they smirk at, do it, because that's your own act of rebellion and against the system, right? If you want to host a debate in your school, do it. And you want the topic to be about things that people normally don't talk about, do it. Right? You want to dress all day, go all out. It's your life. Right? You want to build your house and it's not going to look like your parents' own, or all the house in the streets. My darling, it's your house. You want to go to university and start a book club, and the only classical books are allowed, no contemporaries. By all means. You want to start a page and you want to criticize contemporary artists, or you want to criticize, even if you want to criticize Shakespeare, whatever it is that you think adds a speck, because criticism is a good thing, that adds a speck of value to the earth, by all means, do it. I hope that answers to an extent. Daniel, I hope you got that.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been 1 hour 30 minutes or more. Not even 1 hour 30 minutes. So, almost 2 hours. We've been here since 7 o'clock. In fact, 6:55, I started the call, and it's 8:55 already. 8:53, but yeah, 8:55. So that's 2 complete hours. I really, really, really appreciate you guys. Now, the group is a community. We're going to have random conversations. Now, that group used to exist as a very small group. There were people who were there from very long ago, who, I used to would have conversations on the touchiest of matters, things that nobody would talk about. Not good things like this one, no. Things like that your pastor will not say in church, right? So I'm going to bring up such topics once in a while, and I want everybody, don't ever hold back. I want everybody to communicate. I want everybody to share the idea. Write out that essay. Say what you think about it. I want to hear people. Also, I'm going to be dropping videos on my page this year. So maybe when I drop those videos, I'll share links to the group, and you guys can see those videos. But yeah, it's going to be a year in, year out, month in, month out conversation on the things that matter, and the things of life that matter. But yeah, I really, really appreciate you guys joining tonight. I hope that you got value. I hope that beauty has been triggered in you and added to you. And I would see you again in our next conversation, whether on the group, on Instagram or TikTok, or in another, call like this. Have a beautiful night, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining.
Thank you, boss. Ushe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Israel.
Thank you, Comfort.
Thank you very much. I really got value. Thank you very much.
SOG, good to have you. Thank you.
Yes, it's been good being in this conversation once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shadrach. Tosin, is that you?
Thank you so much, Akinola. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My God, that's interesting. Good to have you. Thank you. Thank you too.
Thank you, sir.
It was nice receiving you.
Yeah, priceless. Thank you. And yeah, and I know what I would do. I would. You wouldn't want to leave. You wouldn't want to leave the call. All right. Good night, everyone. Good night. See you again soon.